You know, these eligibility rules are just getting so out of hand. I thought the craziest example of it is when Kenny Dillingham said that he's actually going to put himself in the game today to try to throw Duke off.
Happy game day and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils pregame show, of course, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BVPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by my passenger princess himself, Erik Rubin. We've got the deli man behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. And Erik, for the final time in 2025, we are breaking down Arizona State's matchup in the Sun Bowl, not just the final Sun Bowl game, I guess I should say, but the final football game here in 2025 for Arizona State, with a whole hell of a lot at stake, starting with the fact that the Sun Devils can do something that hasn't been done at Arizona State in quite some time, and that is win 20 games combined over their last two seasons. But of course, you need a win over the Duke Blue Devils to do it. So will they? Who will be an impactful player? And how can the Sun Devils get that job done? Well, we're going to spend the next 30 minutes leading you up to kickoff, breaking it all down. But Rubis, at all here on a December 31st, happy New Year's Eve. Any emotions as we break down our final Arizona State football game of 2025?
No, let's get to it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this game. It's been a really weird season, and I think you and I have captured that quite well over the last couple of months, and it's been a really weird month. It's kind of weird that they still have a football game to play, honestly, considering everything that's been going on. Of course, a lot of eyes on the transfer portal, from who's leaving ASU to who might be coming to Tempe next year. But it's just nice to get an actual football game to watch, to talk about. A ton of young guys who could step up, a ton of veterans, their last game in college football. And dare I say, this is the perfect opponent for Arizona State, because it's an ACC champion, man. It's a good football team, but quite honestly, it's not a great football team. Duke certainly is dangerous. Duke, I do believe, considering the amount of talent Arizona State is out, does deserve to be favored in this game, but by no means are they a world beater, and by no means are they a perfect team that doesn't have a weakness that I'm sure Kenny and company have been focusing on exploiting. This is going to be a really fun test for the guys that are on the field, and I do think Arizona State has the horses to get the job done.
Well, look, you said it's been a weird year, and why not have a weird game, right? That's exactly what this is going to be between Arizona State and Duke, not just on the field, but just the fact that you have Arizona State and Duke playing in a football game just kind of feels weird. Look, I know it's bowl season, really anything can happen, but it just kind of feels odd, to say the least, and I'm with you. It feels weird that the Sun Devils even have a game still left to play, given the announcements of guys going into the portal, guys going into the draft, and then, of course, what we spent the last 2.5 weeks talking about is the whole Kenny Dillingham. Is he here or is he not here? Where is he going to be in 2026? And I know we have felt the entire time that he is going to be at Arizona State long-term. It's nice that that contract stuff got, settled and dealt with. And now the focus as of late has been this bowl game, but it's going to be a weird one. It's going to be an uncomfortable one, I think, for the Arizona State fan base. And get out your notepad and your pen and start taking some notes, because you're going to see some players that you haven't seen play a ton for Arizona State in this matchup, because, of course, no Sam Levitt, who's in the portal, no Javen Robinson, who's in the portal, no Xavier Alford, no Keith Abney, no Jordan Tyson, no Max Ahanichor, no Josh Atkins, no Ben Coleman. The list kind of goes on and on and on. If you're an Arizona State fan, Erik, which means, guess what? You're going to see a lot of those younger players getting in the game. Could be good to see what kind of building blocks Kenny Dillingham and company have here in Tempe before that portal window opens on January 2nd.
I'm hearing today is going to be an all-time, hey, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Number.
Everybody get your roster readily available right here so you can see and be like, oh, that's.
But that's not a bad thing. No. I don't think that's a bad thing in this situation. I said it on yesterday's show. It alleviates a little bit of the pressure, I think, not from a team perspective. I think there's a lot of pressure on these younger kids, because there's a big opportunity before the portal comes up and for either themselves to stay here or to move on. This is a really defining couple of weeks in a game for them. I think as a fan, and speaking from a fan perspective, the reason why I'm excited for this game is because it does feel like all that pressure that's been weighing down on this program for the last couple of months, as expectations weren't met for a variety of reasons, a lot of reasons out of the team's control, it all feels washed away now. Yeah. No Sam Levitt. It's like, yeah, I know that. Like, I'm not worried about that anymore. Because even in season, it was like, wow, we're getting news about him potentially leaving, or, oh, is he going to come back from injury? Oh, is he going to be able to do this, do that? Same thing with Jordan Tyson. Is he going to come back from his hamstring? What's he going to do with the, it's like all these questions are answered. We know what's going to happen today. There's going to be a weird mix of some guys that played in the 2019 Sun Bowl, or some guy in Anthony Cooper.
Some guy, yeah.
And players who haven't really played in college football yet, all mixed together anywhere in between and trying to go out there and to beat an ACC champion. And I think they have this internal belief that they can do it. And I think they have a chip on their shoulder to do it. Arizona State has thrived in uncomfortable situations and weird games and weird situations over the last couple of years. This feels like a perfect Kenny Dillingham game where you look back and go, damn, how the hell did they win the Frosted Flakes Bowl? Sorry, the Sun Bowl, not the Frosted.
There you go. The Tony the Tiger.
Why is Frosted Flakes not in the name?
It's too long. Tony the Tiger Frosted Flakes Sun Bowl just feels
why is Tony the Tiger what we're keeping in?
Because Tony, I don't know, man. You're asking the
Tony's
wrong
the brand?
person. You're asking the wrong person these questions. Yeah, the Tiger's the brand, not the cereal, man.
It's like I guess Pop-Tart is like all in one, right? The Pop-Tart Bowl, like the mascot is the Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Right, but it's also the product. So I don't know.
Like the Frosted Flakes Sun Bowl would be kind of weird.
Yeah, the Frosted Flakes should be like a bowl in like a cold place. I guess there's really no cold places anymore though. So it would be. I think El Paso's fine. Maybe it's actually cold in El Paso now.
I mean, it's.
You're wearing a hoodie.
It's a brisk 35 degrees, something along those lines.
That's pretty cold.
It's fine. It's nothing crazy.
65 degrees here.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations, Erik. Look. I think, in all honesty, this game between Arizona State and Duke is the perfect, picture look as to what college football is in 2025.
The perfect game.
It's
the perfect opponent.
Maybe not the perfect opponent, but just think about what you have here in 2025, right? We're talking about Arizona State. The team's star quarterback got hurt midseason. I haven't seen him since. Entered the portal, whatever. Team's number one wide receiver, going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. You have a guy on the defensive line in Anthony Cooper, whose very first game in college football was the 2019 Sun Bowl. In his last career game in college football is going to be the 2025 Sun Bowl. With what you said, a number of guys, defensively, offensively, who it's going to be their first game period playing, right? First game starting for a number of these players. Some guys going to be out there while their name is in the transfer portal. Some going to be playing and then have their name in the transfer portal hours later. Meanwhile, all this coming off the heels of a week ago, there was concern from some folks in the fan base that the coach wouldn't even be here, that he was going to be in Michigan, right? So think about Arizona State. I feel like at this point in time, going into this Sun Bowl game, it's the perfect glimpse as to what college football looks like in 2025. And now, of course, Arizona State, not the only team dealing with opt-outs, transfers, injuries, etc. You look at the Duke side of the ball, some players we named on yesterday's show that wouldn't be playing in this game. Right tackle Brian Parker, the second for Duke. Corner Chandler Rivers. Defensive end Vincent Anthony Jr., one of the premier edge rushers for the Blue Devils, not going to be playing in that game. or in today's game. And then also some injuries that Duke has been dealing with really for the last couple of weeks at this point in time. Another corner, Kamari Robinson, who missed the ACC title game, defensive end Bryce Davis, who also missed that ACC title game, and then safety Terry Moore, who has been out for the season with an injury. So Arizona State, not the only team dealing with injuries and opt-outs and all that stuff, Erik, but it does feel like looking at this matchup, Arizona State's offense versus Duke's defense feels like an even matchup. Biggest question is going to be, how does Arizona State's defense stack up with all those young guys that haven't really played, going up against a Duke offense where, let's be honest, it's the majority of the guys that have been out there all year.
Here's a question for you. Do you think the winner of tonight's game, if you had to choose one of these two options, right, or today's game, sorry, I'm so used to doing these post games at night, is the defense that plays the best or the offense that plays the best?
I think it's going to be the offense that plays the best at this point in time. I think it's going to.
And you would say that favors Duke?
That favors Duke, yeah. Would I be absolutely shocked if we're talking post-game in a couple hours that Arizona State won this game by 20 points because Jeff Sims went nuclear? No, I wouldn't be shocked because Jeff Sims can run the football particularly well. You said it on yesterday's show. Jeff Sims sometimes doesn't even know what Jeff Sims is going to do in a football game. And he's going up against a very sus Duke defense in every facet, right? What they allow opposing rushers to do, what they allow through the secondary. I mean, it's the Oprah Winfrey show of the mid 2000s. Everybody's getting a touchdown. Everybody's getting big gains. Duke's defense hands it out, man.
I think it comes down to defense for me. I think for a couple of different reasons. Number one, like you mentioned, Arizona State missing a lot of key names, keeping some key names though, some veterans still out there that will be playing, but Duke averages 34 points per game, one of the highest scoring offenses in the ACC, one of the most potent offenses in the entire ACC. It's certainly their bread and butter. I think it's, especially with who they're returning and who's playing for them, I feel like, okay, consistently their offense, I think, will be there. I believe Arizona State's offense has its identity already picked out. They're going to run the ball, even if Kanye Udo isn't playing, even if Raleek Brown isn't playing, which we know for sure. Kyson Brown not playing for sure. Like, ASU is still going to run the ball. They still have probably the best runner on the field in Jeff Sims and some targets he can throw to. But at the end of the day, this is probably going to be kind of like the Iowa State plan where it's get him on the ground.
Run the ball.
If Duke is somehow able to cobble together a decent defense, Arizona State's going to have a hard time matching this up. Here's the thing, though. I don't think they can. I don't know if Duke can do it. I don't know if Duke has the bodies, having lost a couple more players and already being one of like the worst
defensive players already.
And already being one of the worst defensive teams in the ACC, which means you are one of the worst defensive teams in all of the Power 4 level. Somehow you win the conference, but that's a different conversation. I think because Duke's defense is so poor and because I do believe Arizona State's identity is rooted in defense, and I think that these guys that are in the 3 deep, I guess, basically at this point that will be starting and will be playing, I do have faith for them to continue to get the system effectively and play it effectively because Brian Ward just does that. Yeah. I feel like whoever plays the best defensive game, if it's Duke finding a way to play it against a weaker offense in Arizona State, or if it's Arizona State finding a way to maintain their identity against a powerful Duke offense, I think that is really what this game is going to come down to. Because if Duke scores 34 points today, I don't know if Arizona State can match that. Yeah. But if Duke can't score 34 points, if Duke scores in the low 20s, I don't think they can win because I don't think their defense is going to be good enough. It's kind of like this weird in-between ground with me where I feel like defense is going to dictate the Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes, Sun Bowl extravaganza.
Look, it's going to be interesting, and this would be a pregame show if we didn't tell you how the Sun Devils could get the job done. I know Rubus gave you a sneak peek into it, but let's go ahead and get our SPAR keys to victory for Arizona State to snag another win here in the 2025 season. Rubus, starting with our first key, and that's kind of what you alluded to offensively as it relates to Jeff Sims, regardless of Kyson Brown and Kanye Udo and Raleek Brown not playing. Arizona State's 3-headed monster that we toted so fondly at the start of the year. Well, you still got to tote the rock, whether that's Jeff, Jason Brown Jr., Grayson Rigdon, Man, any of the guys. With Duke's defense and how poor they are at stopping the run, this feels like a perfect opportunity if you're the Sun Devils to do what you did against Iowa State, run the hell out of this football. Now, even if this is a game where you are finding yourself down 10 points, I still feel like you got to be committed to the ground game through 4 quarters here.
Well, it also keeps the ball out of their hands, right? I mean, the Duke offense is potent, but if the Duke offense isn't on the field, then they can't do anything, right? And I do think that will be one of the reasons why Arizona State wins. If they do end up winning this game, it'll be because they win the time of possession battle. And at the end of the day, you just got to be methodical. Also, look, we know the book is written on Jeff Sims, and the more that Jeff Sims throws, the more likely it is for there to be turnovers. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be turnovers if he's running the ball, because ball security is also something, but it's not always going to be him running. I think minimizing your risk. If Arizona State goes out and turns the ball over 2-3 times, I don't know if they'll have the power to overcome that like they maybe have in other games. And we've seen them not be able to do that. So run the ball. I think you minimize your risk is maybe like a synonym for that. Minimize your risk by keeping Duke off the field and by keeping the ball in your hands and not in the air.
Yeah, run that football. And also, again, our next key to victory, it's the next man up, man. There are no excuses. Everybody in college football, every major program, even teams in the college football playoff, damn it, are missing key players. Whether that be because of injuries and surgeries and rehab or transfer portal or declaring for the draft, everybody in college football at this point in time, welcome to 2025, is dealing with some loss, right? So if you're Arizona State, regardless of the number of players that you are going to be playing without in that 2 deep, guess what? All these other guys, whether they've played in games, they've been practicing. They are Division I athletes at this level for a reason. It is time to prove it. If your name hasn't been called through the first 12 games of the season, guess what? You have a perfect opportunity in game 13. It's next man up at every single position.
And that's been the story of Arizona State this entire season as well. Like, there are no secrets to it. And I think from a coaching staff perspective as well, it's nice that you've already had to get so many guys ready. And even if you've got to dip even lower in the depth chart, like, you've already had this replacement process in place. A lot of the names that you listed at the beginning of this show have been out for Arizona State before this game. Jordan Tyson has been out since before this game. Sam Levitt's been out since before this game. Ben Coleman's been out since before this game. Xavier Alford's been out since before this game. Kyson Brown's been out since before this game. Like, it has been a season of attrition for Arizona State, a season of overcoming and next man up. Not only can you learn from other guys stepping up and that ahead of you, and now it's your turn, but I think from a coach's perspective at this point, it's like, we already know how to implement new guys. We already know how to install you on offense or you on defense if you haven't played a game before, because that's just what we've had to do. So I'm not really worried about that, but it is a really big key for today's game.
Next man up, tote the rock, and finally get creative. That's what we need to see from the Arizona State Sun Devils to round out 2025. Offensively, to make up for the lack of production that we saw really all year long, specifically in the first quarter, you are going to need to score points, especially with the fact that you don't know what you're getting from your defense in this game because you have so many new guys. And then defensively, Erik, I want to see this team get creative as well to maybe set up some of these younger players, linebackers, defensive linemen, corners, safeties, to really make the most of their opportunity. And sometimes in these games, these weird games, you got to get creative to win.
Yeah, some exotic blitzes, maybe something that Darian Mensah is not looking forward to. And I mean, I forget if I said it on this show or if I said it on yesterday's show, but there's not going to be a lot of tape on this team, right? I mean, even the guys who have played, right, they're going to be playing next to completely different players. CJ Fight's going to be playing alongside a completely different defensive line. So how are you going to watch tape on how to block CJ Fight when he's not going to have Clayton Smith on that line with him garnering attention, or Prince Dorba, right? You're going to have to do things a little differently, and you are going to have to throw the unexpected at this Duke team. And again, like, we're not talking about a 10-win team here in Duke. We're not talking about a team that just missed the college football playoffs. We're talking about a team that realistically shouldn't have been in the ACC championship, somehow found a way to win it because of a weird tiebreaker to get in there, and they've been peaking at the right time. If you take risks, it's not like this team is so good that they're going to be able to capitalize on all of them. So if you take these well-calculated risks, which we've seen them do in much bigger spots, right? Whether it's a college football playoff game with a fake punt or whether it's the Big 12 championship with a deep ball, like with Cam Scadaboo throw, like you've seen this staff when they've had multiple weeks to prepare, throw something crazy out there when the stakes were much, much higher. There's going to be maybe some of the most ridiculous plays you've seen in college football all year called today.
I'm amped. The fan base should be amped. I do believe that Prince Dorbo will be playing in this game. I just want to throw that out there. No Clayton Smith, though. So this is, for the most part, right? It is going to be a new D-line, a new offensive line, new pieces everywhere. And again, our spark keys to victory, toting the rock if you're Arizona State offensively. Next man up for everybody on board and then getting creative. Erik, let's not waste any time here. For the final time in this 2025 season, you got to choose one. You got to choose one Arizona State Sun Devil to be a difference maker, to be the X factor. Who do you got?
This one is sponsored by the deli man, Shane Deef. Give me Derek Eusebio. Look, I wanted to go with my guy, Malik McClain, but let's be honest, that's going to be the MVP of the game, not the X factor. Derek Eusebio, I'm very interested to see what he's able to do. He's a Texas kid, and he is a big play machine. With this offense and with the way that it has struggled to put points on the board and the way that it's lacked explosives at times, if they can get one or maybe two of them out of Derek Eusebio, who might have the steadiest hands on the field with no Shaman, no Jordan Tyson out there, he's going to be, I feel like, the guy who gets a lot of these targets from Jeff Sims. Also somebody that you're trying to showcase for next year, and also somebody who is probably going to be a pretty big piece on your roster if he doesn't transfer going into next season. So I expect to see a lot of Derek Eusebio in his home state, putting on a show in El Paso.
1,000%. Look, I'm keeping it with another Sun Devil that we've seen a lot of, not just this year, but last year as well. And that is, of course, defensive tackle CJ Fight. There were some rumors and some concerns that maybe CJ wouldn't be here playing in the bowl game, maybe wouldn't be here at all in 2026. Why? Well, he was testing the waters to see what was out there in the NFL draft, opted to return to Arizona State, not just for the 2026 season, but also for this Sun Bowl at hand today. I think regardless, right, you're missing a lot of key pieces for this ASU defense, for this ASU offense, and you have the luxury of having a leader still be out there, somebody that has been in this locker room for several seasons now, who knows what this culture is about, knows what's at stake. I mean, you brought up the fact Derek Eusebio is a Texas kid. How about CJ Fight being the Texas guy in my mind? I think this is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for CJ Fight and for Derek Eusebio, in all honesty, to really have some statement games, to put their stamp on this 2025 season for the Arizona State Sun Devils.
There's a lot on CJ Fight's shoulders going into this game. Not only is he kind of leading the way going forward as far as top-end guys returning to Arizona State next year when there is this big exodus specifically of defensive talent, but just overall on the roster. But now it's on him to be the gravity puller, which he already is. Like, don't get it twisted. He's been doing that. But it's even more important when you've got some guys who are more unproven, who might not be processing the game as quickly and might not be able to make these big plays that you've seen even behind you off of the line at the linebacker position or in the secondary. It all starts with CJ Fight. He's the domino effect, and he's a pretty damn big domino. And if he can get all this attention and still find a way to make Mensa uncomfortable, then Duke's offense can be thrown off a little bit. Duke's run game is improved this year than it was last season, so they are still a threat on the ground, even though they are going to be throwing the ball a lot. This all starts with CJ Fight. If your defense is going to be able to step up to the test, he is going to be the leader of it.
Agreed. 1,000%. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Also, add to the comments. Let us know who you're excited to see today. Who's your X Factor for Arizona State, with just about 10, 15 minutes until the 2025 Sun Bowl kicks off between Arizona State and those Duke Blue Devils. Again, make sure you're subscribed right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, because we are going to be going live after the game for our final ASU football postgame show of 2025. Erik, a year that started January 1st with a Peach Bowl appearance and is ending with a Sun Bowl appearance. So the big question at hand then is, will the Sun Devils get the job done? Will they get their 20th win over the last 2 seasons combined. What say you, Passenger Princess?
It's got to happen, and it's got to happen one way and one way only. I say defense wins this game. Let's keep Duke 10 points below their season average to 24 instead of 34. And how about a nice 27-24 victory once again for the 18th time this season? Arizona State wins the game 27-24.
It wouldn't be an Arizona State game if it didn't end with a field goal margin, right? You've got 27-24. I have got 24-21 in favor of those Arizona State Sun Devils. Look, I'm going to be completely frank with you. I don't know what we're going to see today. I don't know if this is going to be a 45-42 game. I don't know if this is going to be a 6-3 game. But what I do know is this Arizona State fan base is going to get a glimpse into the future, some building blocks for this program. And it's going to be huge for this coaching staff to see what they have readily available at a number of positions with the transfer portal window opening just a few days from now. But let us know in the comments, what's the score? Who wins this game? Do the Sun Devils pick up that 20th win? That's the question at hand. Again, kickoff is right around the corner, and we will be live again right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel for a PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. If you want to follow us on social, keep up with the game, keep up with things going on in El Paso, well, give the show a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Senor Rubis, the man holding it down in the valley, at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Dief.
I'm just enjoying my time in the lovely, lovely city of El Paso as always.
And we will see you guys post game. In the meantime, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.